Yes, I want to welcome everyone to this session of our Each One Teach One that happens every Tuesday. And in a very special way, I want to acknowledge and thank every ICT teacher who is on the call. Thank you for making it a priority to see that each and every Tuesday we are always together, but each trying to learn from one another. These sessions normally happen every Tuesday, and they are powered or sponsored by Shareability Uganda Limited, the #1 resource when it comes to ICT related resources or educational material. Ladies and gentlemen, we are powered by Izon School of Computing. That school is in Nabingo, and it is a school that mainly majors in things to do with ICT as well. Now, we are sponsored by Tosmic Events, of course, sound and lighting and event management. I want to welcome each and everybody on the call. My name is Sebalamu Eric Tom, an ICT teacher at St. Mark's College, Namagoma, who happens to also serve as the National Public State Secretary for the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. We are live on our YouTube channel. Kindly keep sharing the link. But in the same spirit, we are also live through Zoom, our official platforms. I normally encourage the teachers, please keep following our accounts for ICT Teachers Association of Uganda, because there are a lot of insights that we normally share about a number of concerns and things. I want to take this moment in less than a few minutes so that we have a few simple introductions so that we can know the people tuned in and where you are. I want to follow the order of Mr. Dumba Stephen. I'm seeing you. Miss Nachirunda Jen Francis, Hakim Mwonge, Kalunji Samuel, in that order. Kindly just unmute and then be able to introduce yourself to us and we proceed. Thank you. I'm seeing Salongo and Mr. Inebiona, you've unmuted.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Salongo Simon Tumanyire, Deputy HM Administration, St. Mark's College, Namagoma. I was invited by Eric Tom Sebalamu Omugaga. I want to attend and learn one or two things. Thank you for allowing me.
Thank you very much, Salongo. We can hear from any other person on the call. We are taking a few minutes for introduction. Thank you for tuning in, Salongo. Yes, please. Any other person? Please, when you unmute, just introduce yourself and the school you are representing or the fraternity you are representing. Educators are not only in schools. Yes, please. Feel free. We are not following any order.
Good evening, teachers. My name is Mwonga Aki, and I'm a teacher at Munia Secondary School, ICT, Buloba Nabukalu. Thank you for this platform.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hakim. Any other that is ready? Feel free. We want to assume that we can proceed.
Yes, Joshua Mwesije here, Victorian High School. Nice to be here.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. Now, our session today is entirely about KPIs, which we call the key performance indicators of a teacher of 2026 A teacher of 2026 is going to be digested fully by our guest speaker, who also happens to be the head teacher of Comprehensive SS Serinya, and that is going to be Mr. Lubwama Stuart. Now, to begin with, one of the challenges that we are facing as teachers lately, I think, is so much into delivery. And if you are to digest this in detail, you realize that yesterday we had a session where we had ICT teachers analyzing results of their performance. And among the things that were discussed, at some point we're able to realize that the problem may not only be with one side of the stakeholders. We're able to realize that some of the challenges that we are likely to be having in the subject could be by ourselves as the ICT teachers. That is why I am saying this is one of the reasons why we keep doing this. Now, Mr. Lubwama Stuart is supposed to be taking us through. I'm just not seeing him. I was interacting with him initially, but I hope he's joining us in a bit. Okay. But also in the same line, I want to also pass on communication. On the 13th and 14th of March, we are having a word camp. It is going to be in Mukono. Now, what happens at a word camp is that we have so many people that are passionate about website designing, and these are teachers that may be educators or may not be, where we have a group of professionals when it comes to WordPress coming together for a common goal. Why do we prioritize WordCamps and why do we talk about them, especially on a forum like this one? It is because, as we all know, especially those who are into ICT teaching, we have a session or a number or a section where our learners are directly always asked about website designing, and that is item 2 when it comes to the practical paper. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm seeing Mr. Lubwama Stuart. He's ready, hopefully, but I can take you through an introduction as I welcome Mr. Lubwama Stuart. Now, one of the things that we need to know, I am very delighted to be here myself, introducing Mr. Lubwama Stuart, who was actually once my teacher. So I feel very proud when I'm introducing him to a forum of this kind. He's among the few people that believed in me, especially when I was doing my first school practice. And that was Mr. Lubwama. Now, one of the reasons as to why we do the each one teach one is to unite ourselves as ICT teachers, but also to empower each other. Our topics are not directly in line with ICT. That is why if it is capacity building or any other concern, we always acknowledge and welcome everything in that line. To start with, Mr. Lubwama Stuart is a born Ugandan educationist and head teacher from Wakiso district. He is a researcher with over 10 years of leadership experience in civic engagements, education, and cultural research. He is a registered grade teacher and advocate for policy reforms in education and culture. Mr. Lubwama Stuart holds a Bachelor of Arts in Education from Makerere University, and he has an international diploma in education from Buckingham University, UK. He is also into public management and leadership from Franklin Institute of Leadership and Management and United States Mission in Uganda. Now, about the employment record for Mr. Lubwama, he is currently the head teacher of Comprehensive SS Serinya, which is in Wakiso district. He has been a head teacher there from December 2022 up to date. Mr. Lubwama Stuart also served as a head teacher at Entebbe Bright Secondary School, that is in 2021 to 2022. He is also having a history of being a head teacher at Victorian High School Entebbe. He has been a head of department. He's a history and religious education teacher. Actually, reading about this one reminds me of somebody who was telling me of how gospel artists are failing CRE lately, but it is anyway a peace of mind. So it's being a CRE teacher, he will give us a better representation on that. So he's a national education leader under the School's Teachers Initiative for Results, a teacher change maker program. He's also into district education leaders for Wakiso Secondary School Head Teachers Association, which many of us call Wakisha, under the school's Teachers Initiative for Results. So he has been a Guild Minister for Culture and Mobilization at Makerere University, and a Guild Representative Councillor and Coordinator for School of Education between 2014 to 2017. So I believe we fully understand the nature of person we are having on the call, and the aim of these sessions is each one to teach one. Feel free to share the link. I'm going to be dropping the YouTube link in the comment section, and then we are going to be able to hear from him. Mr. Lubwama Stuart, I don't know if you can be able to hear me.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, please. Are you also hearing me?
Yes, please. You are very clear. Kindly share your screen if you would wish to, and then you take on.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sevalamutom. Let me hope people can now see. Are you in position
Yes,
to see
please.
my screen?
Yes, sir.
Sorry for... Is it okay there?
Yeah, you are good, please.
Okay, members, for starters, I would want to, first of all, thank the Almighty God for this opportune moment. And also I want to thank Itao, and in a special way, thank you, Mr. Tom Sevalam. You've rightly said it that you are one of my former students. And now I can gladly say and state that I'm proud to call you a comrade in the profession. I think this history exemplifies the show you've hosted me on, that each one teach one. Who knows, maybe you comrade teachers who are listening unto me now, tomorrow you also be hosted by your former student, and that is life, actually. He has introduced me so well. Thank you so much. I think you've described who I am. I need not to repeat. However, I would just want to request that maybe I came late. The people listening unto me, are you comrades there?
Yes, we are on.
Okay, that's great. Any other person who is also live and listening? Mr.
Yes,
Tom?
we are on.
Okay. Okay. If we are good to go, at least I've had 2 responses. Comrade, thank you so much for this opportunity you have given to me. As you can see, I'm here to share with you, especially about the key performance indicators for a 21st century teacher. And we really are going to be sharing together. And I know in the end of it all, I pray that through this piece of work we have organized here, someone can borrow a leaf or steal from your reactions and contributions. You would also inspire me and I learn a thing or two. Otherwise, it is simple that we want to see that we inspire each other to acquire at least measurable teacher performance indicators that are going to help us to implement the new curriculum. And if you could allow me, open with this quote. It is very simple. It says, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. That quotation was shared by a gentleman known as John Dewey during one of CBC training at Makerere University. So to put this in context, everybody now knows that Uganda's education system is transitioning. Actually, we are graduating from rote teaching to now competencies like critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, among others. Therefore, the CBC requires teachers, requires you and me to be facilitators of learning, not just content deliverers. That is actually very important. And this brings me to number 2, the purpose of this session, which is simply to enable you, colleagues, understand the key performance indicators in the CBC context. Then 2 is reflect on the teacher effectiveness, inspire professional growth, and improve learner competencies. So we all know it's all about competencies, it's all about learning outcomes, learning activities, among others. Now, for that, if we all know this is what we are dealing with, and we are supposed to ensure that our learners can acquire these competencies to see that they can be in position to apply them in their day-to-day life activities. It is important, and it should be to basic knowledge you understand at first what are key performance indicators. In my simple research and understanding, I've defined key performance indicators as measurable indicators that help teachers evaluate and improve their teaching performance. Especially here in the CBC, effectiveness is measured by learner outcomes and skills development. We all know, just as everybody has seen what happened last week, examinations came out, and in them coming out, we saw shockers in very many institutions. People were looking for A's, and actually, A's are nowhere to be seen. But you would see learners scoring A, scoring B, C, E. It is simple. You would see they describe A as an exceptional student, and everybody knows the rest. But you would see in the column of description of what exceptional means, and they would show you that this is a learner who has understood the competencies and was able to apply these competencies in the day-to-day life activities. So application is really very important. But again, research shows that it's only 31% of schools in Uganda that have fully embraced the curriculum. Now, someone would really ask, what happens to the rest? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the same research was showing that it was around 17% which had partially applied and used the new curriculum well. And now you and me can get to know. If you just get the 18 plus the 31, it leaves almost 51 schools which have not embraced the curriculum. So it is very important, dear comrades, that that means that very many schools have not yet started or logged in fully, and therefore we need to ensure that we do a lot of training, a lot of resources. So key performance indicators for those of us who are here will help us to provide clarity on what good teaching looks like and help align classroom practice to the national education goal. That should be something we shall get out of everything we are going to discuss. And I would also want to call all of you members listening to me that these tools, the key performance indicator tools that we are going to share, They are simply for growth. We want to see that we grow as members in the profession. We are not like insects that we don't transform, that we don't improve. We should grow professionally. It's to ensure that we adapt and become more professional in our work. I also want to see that in this, if you would go back and implement, we improve learning outcomes and ensure that we can have what we call teacher dignity. So maybe also, which I think everybody now knows, I had prepared here a simple slide, which talks about the CBC in the Ugandan secondary schools, where we all know that now we shifted from to the learner-centered and skill-based learning. We are focusing on application. This is very important, that whatever we learn, we ensure that it is contextualized, that as learners, when they are interacting with the learning outcomes, the suggested activities, we should bring whatever we are teaching in our day-to-day life experiences. If learners can be in position to focus and ensure that they apply the learning, and by the way, much of the time should be spent on the application. Especially, we should deter learners from cramming. Some of us, like me and you, who should be remembering. We used even to have acronyms for answers, but that one is suicidal in the competence-based curriculum. We need to emphasize values. We need to emphasize attitudes. It is very important that when you get to see some learners, they may end up failing. We cannot operate on motivation. We cannot be motivated every day. And we say that those learners will then achieve the intended outcomes. Because, comrade friend, only motivation cannot assure us success. You would find that learners need to be committed, they need to be resilient. There will be some days which are going to be hard. But in my subject of ICT, what what are those qualities a learner who will pass has to get? Waking up early in the morning, committing to practicing, reading the theory. I'm told you people of ICT, in most cases, some learners think that going in the computer lab is enough for them to acquire everything about ICT. But that is one thing. You have also to go and have the theory paper. And I'm told many learners sometimes find a challenge. Now you have to equip them with such mentality. Attitudes here, they focus on such things. And finally, you teachers, me and you, we are supposed to be facilitators. The business of us going to class and speak as if we are the masters of everything shouldn't always apply. Now, I have here a simple slide also, which it is comparing the CBC with the traditional curriculum. And I know I will not spend a lot of time here because majority of us really are well aware about these changes. Now I would want to proceed to the different key performance indicators. I think any teacher interacting with the new curriculum and our learners need to have, to personify. Dear colleagues, we need to see that we get to implement this curriculum, but using some of these key performance indicators. Now, the first one, we should ensure that we make our learners take an active learning stage. They should be the center. And this one, I encourage you people to adopt learner-centered instruction, where the learners are the centers of everything. Sometimes I'm challenged. You find teachers developing notes for learners. And some teachers sometimes go and say, now these are senior ones, they have just come. What do they know? No, people, it is not, it does not mean that because they are in senior one, you would want to determine their intelligence, depending on their age or their class. You would find that even these topics we are going to be teaching, these learners have already interfaced with them in their day-to-day life experiences. Topics of heat, for example, You would even see a lot of biology they already know from their previous topics. Some of these learners are even more knowledgeable than us. So I would request that encourage learners to take active center stage into the learning and ensure that you also learn with them. You lose nothing to also tell them, whereof I'm your teacher, I'm going to be your facilitator. But students, dear students, there is also a lot I'm going to be learning from you. Let them believe they know, because actually some of them know from experience, some of them know from environment, some of them know because they are more resourced from their homes. And also important, let us be inclusive while ensuring that we are having these learner-centered instructions. Friends, we have classes with learners of different ages, learners of different sexes, and learners of different abilities. Let's try to see that in whichever activity we are going to involve in these learners, let the girls be part and partial. Let the boys also be part and partial. Let the weak learners be combined with the strong learners. Then importantly is differentiation. If I may put this one right, comrade friends, to differentiate learning is to understand your learners' abilities. You get to know that these people at the front, this student at this level, their abilities start and stop from here, such that even when they come to you for support, there are some learners you will see, for them they are very intelligent maybe, or maybe they are more gifted than others. Now, how do you get to know that this one will maybe finish the work quickly, but he might end up getting bored or involving into misbehavior? But there is the other one who will take some time. Now, can you even design some activities that you can give? But in the end of it all, you are trying to break down the learning outcome, and in the end of it all of them can acquire the same learning outcome. Those ones who are highly gifted, and you may be, instead of giving 3 examples, tell them to give 5. Instead of giving 4 topic points, let them maybe give 6. Yet these ones can give 2, and afterwards they can come and share as a group. Also, allow the learners to speak up. So in Uganda's case, in our case here, I've suggested for us group discussions. I know these ones are sometimes hard to implement, especially in our context. There are very many challenges, and I know of some, as I will share with you in the preceding slides. But we should manage these groups, rotate them. You find that sometimes you do not have the same group, same people for the full term, same teacher. Always try to see that you can, because sometimes when they are so used to one another, there is that familiarity that is developed, and some of them may end up even failing to learn. Let us use debates into our lessons. When you come, you can say, today boys will class the girls. Today maybe the bank benchers, you're going to verse people on the left, you're going to verse people in the middle. And in a way, you leave them with such debates about your learning outcomes or your topics, you would find that you will be having learners getting actively involved. Even projects, you remember all our subjects in senior 1 at least before they progress to senior 3. Each learner should have at least carried out a project, the simple routine projects. Think about something. Let them come together. Put it to them. Ask them, which challenges are you seeing this topic of ours can solve? And what can we develop that is tangible? You would find that in a way, learners are going to be actively involved. And therefore, we should be in position to know. Maybe you would allow me quote for you something here very small. If learners are not involved, learning does not happen. By the way, it is very important that we involve the learners, and that should be our key. I told you, members, I want you to train your learners into developing notes for themselves. If, for example, it's a paragraph of ICT, a paragraph of history, a paragraph of geography, what would be a standard paragraph of report. What should be the quality needed? If a task is asking for knowledge, what is a knowledge question? And for knowledge, what should we put to show that this learner has knowledge? For example, maybe giving examples, listing years, and in so doing, learners will know how can I develop my standard paragraph. Then key performance indicator number 2 is continuous and formative assessment. We all know, dear colleagues, that as we move forward in this curriculum, we need to know that everything is formative. Formative assessment, comrades. In formative assessment, we mean that we shall have lessons, yes, but at every step, while starting, during, and even after the lesson, we can always have questions. We probe these learners. We try to ensure that we propel them to begin thinking deeper. Comrade friends, if we can do this, we interact with our schemes of work, lesson plans. We get to see what the syllabus is telling us. Instead of coming and begin dictating to these learners, we are saying, no, you ensure that you can begin with a probing question. Put it to them. You will be shocked. Even the most hard questions, there is that one learner or two, or even the whole class, you will be shocked when they do know how to define or give you these answers. So it's assessment for learning. It gives timely feedback and it tracks competencies. In our case, we could use rubrics, portfolios, and short quizzes. It is very important. So when we are using ongoing assessment, we link them to the competencies. Then it is very important to get feedback. And for this one, formative assessment gives us a chance. We handle the problem there and then. Where the learners are lacking, we can always be able to ensure that we help them immediately. Right now, you can say our learners finished with the summative assessment. Is there anything we can help the senior fours who finished last year with? Nothing. Maybe also I would quote for you something here from the journal, one of the journals I read. It was saying that many still struggle to develop and use the CBC formative assessment tools effectively without adequate professional development. But when used well, continuous assessment has shown benefits like improved reading skills, and learner confidence. That learners are helped in such a way. Maybe I would like you people to also get to be aware of one fact that if we use continuous assessment and formative assessment, this one will help our learners reduce on exam pressure because they would have interacted with a lot of tasks, a lot of questions, a lot of debates, a lot of quizzes. They will have mastered the content. They would have applied it in very many occasions. So I want you to view assessment as a guide, not as a punishment. Sometimes we are lazy. I am aware some of us we are lazy we fear giving these during, after, or before because sometimes we fear marking. But I believe we shall go back and try to implement. Number 3, key performing indicators here. I would encourage you members to use pedagogical innovation in a way that when we are instructing learning, we adopt a variety of teaching methods. It is very important, dear colleagues. Let us not be boring. There you come, you group learners. Groups become groups. Can we be innovative in a way that this time round you can come to instruct, but using role play? You design out something that these learners are going to demonstrate. Yesterday was General Mood Day here at our school. I got my senior 4 history and political learners. I put them, we organized together something to do with what happened with General the state, and the citizens. And those of you who can follow, or maybe who have watched that video, The learners end up putting it into a short drama. And before you know, it would make knowledge and people got to understand the message. Can we use pedagogies like turn and talk in a way that when we use turn and talk, you come to class, for example, you have a probe, a question you have already designed, depending on your learning outcome, and you ask these learners, maybe, what is this? You tell them, think for a minute. After thinking for a minute, or you can say 30 seconds, think about what it is. Can you now turn and talk to your neighbor? Can you turn and share? Can you think, pair, and share? So that in such a way, at first it will take you some time, but I want to tell you, eventually, you get used to it and you can manage your time well. We have talked about debates. It is very important. We can use such debates. Can we also introduce maybe audiovisuals, having maybe videos, playing some audios about your subject? You would find that this will interest many learners, and this will help us. Then 2 is real life application. Everything. That's why we said that education should be in position to produce people who will fit in society, who are going to solve problems we have in society. Can you relate what we teach to what is actually happening? Can we see the ICT in our day-to-day life experiences? I want to ask you people, for every topic you're going to introduce, can you contextualize it? Can you find experiences in life? You can begin even from that. If it is leadership, can you set a context of a church where we have a priest? Can you set a context of a family where we have a father, mother, and children? If it's about whatever it is, it might be maybe typing, maybe you people use Word, use Microsoft, I don't know, you have very many things you use. Can you maybe get a paper? You go and show them, do you see these words? How do you think? In a way that these learners are going to find to see how do the things they study connect to their real life experience. For ICT tools, in my insight, I've talked about that. And maybe here, some people will come up and say, but Stuart, maybe these things are expensive. How shall we really use, maybe, for example, ICT tools? And we were guided. It is very important not to think about maybe, or to think only about expensive technologies. Let's be creative. Let's get relevant examples that we can use. And importantly, let's try to be problem solvers. It matters most in this situation. So another thing here I can share with you, number 4, is professional ethics and values. As teachers of the 21st century, it is very important that we also ensure that we demonstrate what we teach. People have always said it, that what these learners see you doing, in most cases, it's what they also do. Dear comrades, we should know that when these learners come to our classes, we become their role models. And did you know that as teachers, we are leaders? And as leaders, we are influencers. We influence people. Someone was even telling me that even the most introvert person inspires around 2,000 people in his lifetime. And me and you, we can change. By the way, when it comes to inspiration, that changes. So at some moments you are being inspired, and at some moments you're also inspiring others. Now, as an inspirer, as an influencer, you need to walk the talk. In other words, we have seen the curriculum talks about values of integrity. It's talking about maybe skills. Then which skill are you demonstrating? Are you being punctual as a teacher? Do you show preparedness when you come to teach? How do we wear as teachers? Do we respect for learners with diversity? Are we gender sensitive? Are we inclusive? We need to ensure that these things, they look as if they are day-to-day life activities. But people, we also even have what we call the informal curriculum, where learners learn from just observation. And this also brings me to a scholar who said that there is more IQ in observation. When we look, it is also a form of understanding and seeing, of being observant. Learners observe. So, integrity, are we fair before these learners? When we give a task, for example, do we give and expect these people to give us the same results? Respect for learners, discipline, punctuality. Teachers, we are role models. So we need to ensure that we also connect these ethics to the national values. And if I may quote for you, comrades, learners learn more from who we are than what we say. We might be very good in saying, be punctual, do this, but if learners don't see us doing that, it becomes hard. Then again, if you would allow me share with you, colleagues, someone once said, there is a researcher who was making research on what makes good teachers great. And in his research, he interviewed over 26,000 students. And in interviewing them, he ended up reading all their responses. And among the very many responses, learners said or wrote to the teacher, and by the I think actually, even as we should try it out in our classes, you ask your class, but what would make a good teacher great? What do you think should make me, your teacher, great? Honestly, these learners would tell you. Now, in his research, he found out very many answers, but these are the ones I want to share with you. One learner wrote, and it was worth sharing it. He took it up and he said, great teachers eat apples. Another one said, great teachers iron teachers. Another learner said that great teachers chill. You see, sometimes we tend to be extremely harsh. These ethics and our professionalism sometimes end to put us into corridors. But what I wanted us to pick from these responses, it is this, that great teachers iron teachers, that they are not teachers. I don't know if you could imagine one day you go to class and you are learning with these learners. If you would go and tell your learners that I also have today, I'm going for example, a Zoom meeting, I'm going for a continuous professional development workshop or a conference, then you come back and share with them what you have learned. You would be excited how these learners will also get to know that if my teacher also can go and learn, if my teacher can go and also study, how about me? These learners want to see us also learning with them in class. Allow me stop at that. We proceed. Time, I think, is fast spent. Key performance indicator number 5 is professional growth and development. It is continuous professional development, comrades. It is peer learning. It is mentoring. It is reflective practice. If you'd allow me, I would encourage all of us here, get a course that you will do. If you cannot manage to have a course, go for these seminars, go for workshops. There are Zoom meetings almost everywhere. Go onto YouTube, make any inquiry, you can search for anything you are finding trouble into. Samples of videos on how to manage this, samples of what to do. Members, you will find a lot of knowledge. But the challenge is sometimes it is either we are so busy or by our nature, sometimes we are lazy. Someone goes, he sleeps, and tomorrow wants to go in class. How can you do that? So I want to request you, comrades, let's get to improve ourselves. Continuous professional development. Peer learning is also very important. Just as you've hosted me today, tomorrow I'll also be glad to join in when someone else is being hosted and they're talking about something else. I also pick a lesson. Then there is this very important thing of mentorship, mentoring. Some of us, we do not want to be mentored. Some of us feel as if we are there. I told you being a teacher means being a leader. And we have different categories of leaders. But there are these leaders who are naturally born. But even when they are naturally born, there are skills they have to learn. So leadership can also be learned. But the third category of leader, it is a leader who gets a mentor, a mentor, a mentor. Mentorship is very important. Our job should be also like football. Someone was asking a group of employees. He had hired sales personnel to go and sell his products, but always they would return. They would return few sales. Then, as he was berating with these sales managers and officers, he ended up being furious and annoyed with them. Then, among the people he had employed, there was a gentleman he had recently employed, and this gentleman was an ex-professional footballer. Then he asked him, using your former job of football, if a coach was not performing well in a football club, what would happen? Wouldn't they sack all the players? Then the football player first hesitated to respond because the response and the reality in football is simple. That in such a situation, they fire the coach. They don't fire the. Now, we as teachers, what are we doing to improve ourselves? The results came back. Some of them were not so good. Can you go and check in your subject? How was your school? Which number was it? Me today, I got a chance to see my history and political education. And out of the 3,943 centers we have in Uganda, my school was managed to be ranked in 323. I had got 2 A's this time round. I had 31 B's, 44 C's, and 6 D's. Now, I have looked up which schools were better than me, and I want to invest some time. I go there, visit these heads of departments, get to see what they do differently. I saw some schools having 107 A's, but I've also seen very many schools without any. You would count the number of people who have got only one A's in the whole country. There are some schools even we have been admiring, but when I looked at them, what I'm trying to say is that I want to go to be mentored. I want to be mentored. I want to learn more, to share from their experiences. Then final on this is reflective practice. Comrade friends, we learn, we implement, we reflect. We learn, implement, reflect. Like today, I've shared with you very many performance indicators here. Can you go and pick one? You go and implement it. Then again, go back, reflect on what you did well and what you did wrongly. Take accountability. Some of you want to blame everything. Learners are stubborn. Learners are not intelligent. Then if you have less intelligent, for example, 20 less intelligent learners, what becomes of you? In my opinion, I feel you become the 21st less intelligent person in the room. So instead of blaming and shifting, bringing all these kind of explanations to explain away, not everything is explained away. Take responsibility, reflect, become better. As we proceed, 6 is collaboration and community engagement. Let us team teach. Let us involve the parents. Let us involve the community. It is very important. People need to know, what are we doing in our schools? Like recently, I decided, and I told this to my bosses, I want to go digital. I want to use much of social media this year. In a way, I want to go outside there to be scrutinized by the community. I know, yes, sometimes media is a double-edged sword, but we want to put ourselves where we're going to say things and we commit ourselves to them. Because if you just account to only your head of department, maybe to your director, you may find that some people even are employed because they're relatives and others. But if you would choose to make it at a wider spectrum, let people get to know what we are doing and we pledge to improve. Like for me, I am one person who does not encourage our teachers to lie about our performance. If we got 7 A's, that's what we got. If we got 129 B's, that's what we got. And we speak this openly. Because nowadays things are funny. There are some teachers here who came to ask for jobs, and in the due process, when I was interviewing them, I asked him, how did you score? How many A's did you get in your school? The person was saying 20. But when I look in the newspapers, even I have this newspaper here on my table, it's Saturday Monitor. I looked for their school to check for how many A's did they get. And I saw they only had 13. Now I asked you, gentlemen, you have 13 A's in the whole school, but in your subject had 20? What happened? Were your A's cheated? If you would see the face and what the man told me. So I want to request you people to involve. As we proceed, I was emphasizing that we involve the community. It is very important because here we begin accounting to not only ourselves, but also to the community outside there. Then I also want to not to operate as if I don't exist in Uganda. There are challenges we face as teachers in the competence-based curriculum. For example, there are large classes, there are limited resources, training gaps, but I want to state growth still occurs. And also, honestly, I want also to tell you that, dear teachers, remember that commitment and creativity can still make a difference. We have these problems, but through creativity, we can overcome them. Through commitment, we can overcome all this. Through organizing such talks, you never know, we can bridge the gap for training. Then I want to conclude by calling you people to action. And I want to ask you, dear colleagues, we should always know that it's calling you to action. Sorry, I would move very fast. I want you to commit at least to one key performance indicator this term. Then ensure that you support one colleague at least. Let us reflect and improve. Professional growth is a shared responsibility. I don't know how we are going to do it, but we need to, because we are stakeholders and we are responsible for all of us. It is very important that we are having these talks. Then let them not stop onto us. Also go back in your staff room. Share with someone something you have learned today. Share with someone something you think we need to improve at. Then there is this simple quote I want to share with you, that the quality of education can never rise above the quality of its teachers. It can never. You would see that we, as the implementers of the curriculum, actually, we need to ensure that we become better, because it is us who are going to implement this curriculum. And maybe also to tell you, teaching is not only a profession, but it is a passion applied with purpose. We need to ensure that we do our level best. And maybe if you'd allow me, among the statistics I shared with you earlier, 31% are the schools which had implemented the curriculum fully. It is 16, by the way, percent which had partially implemented the curriculum, and 53, none, they are doing their own things. and what they feel is right. Let me hope none of us here is a victim. Let's go and improve ourselves. Let's go and do better. And if you may allow me, please, in my last seconds on my submission, there was a certain gentleman who was moving and he was looking for a post office. He was a doctor, by the way, a doctor at that. When he was moving, this doctor found a young child, a child on his way. Then he asked this child, "Excuse me, please, can you direct me where I can find a post office?" Then the baby said, the young boy said, "No, it's just around that corner." Then the gentleman was very grateful and he said, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much." Then he told the boy, "How I wish you had some time today evening. You would have come. I have a presentation on how to go to heaven." Then the boy said, sarcastically, that even if I had time, I wouldn't have come. If you don't know, even if you cannot locate a post office, now how are you going to be able to show me heaven, how to go to heaven? Do not be like that doctor. You have no competencies. You are in class trying to teach competencies to learners. You have failed on some skills, some values, but you want to see that these learners acquire these skills and values. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening unto me. I remain Lubwama Stuart. May God bless all of you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lubwama Stuart. Yes, the discussion is really worth it. We strongly appreciate. It is like 1 minute to 9. We don't usually intend to go beyond 9 p.m. But all to our teachers who have been on the call, it is great appreciation. It is always a very great pleasure to have all of you here. I believe these sessions keep empowering us at individual level, but also at some other level, of course, at institutional level. Now, one of the things that I've learned from you, the quotes themselves were very much worth it. But of course, even the key performance indicators. If the quality of education can never rise above the quality of the teachers, it means we still have a very big role to play as educators or as teachers, especially when it comes to this. In the same spirit, we also want to believe. I wanted to ask you, Mr. Lubwama, I don't know, in just a minute, if you could be in position to respond, because you've been at a head teacher level in a number of schools. I don't know, what do you think is the biggest challenge you face now, especially if you are demonstrating teacher competence? In other words, the key performance indicators that you've been highlighting were very good, and it was, yes, worth it, understanding. But what do you think is the biggest challenge you faced in demonstrating teacher competence?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. Now, owing to my experience, I want to assure you, comrades, challenges are going to be everywhere. But the greatest challenge I've faced, especially now as a team leader, as a head teacher, is that we the teachers are proving to be another big challenge towards this curriculum, because we have got to see it is about competencies, but there are these people who want to kuba kipya mu kikadde. There are some people even who question. You're going to meet these people again, and I know in very many schools now, when it comes to senior 6, because they're going to be sitting for the first time, people have a challenge. People are highly dogmatic. People are static. They don't want to embrace change. Sometimes you might even sit, agree on some things, and you find people again doing other things. So there has to be close monitoring. So for me, the greatest challenge I would really put is that some teachers some of our colleagues are failing to appreciate change. And in so doing, very many of our learners, we entrusted them with being victims. So I think if I got your question well, that one would be the greatest challenge I can put across. Then others, I think, when a teacher can change their mindset in most cases, you would find that even learners will eventually comply. You would find that even our bosses, they would also look for resources, and if especially they can see that the resources are worthy being spent, you would see learners changing if we can change our attitude, our mentality.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lubwama. I don't know if your submission is done in line with the same.
Yeah, I am through unless you would tell me in case I was not satisfactory.
No, it is well. My main concern is time. I know how teachers normally have a long day and what it means to be online and spare time till this time. We want to officially appreciate you, Mr. Stuart. Thank you very much for sparing the time to come and share with us as the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. And one of the things that I've also learned from you is that great teachers iron teachers. That is a very evident example that we are seeing from your discussion today. Sharing with another teacher actually makes a great teacher. I want to conclude with a few remarks, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, those on the call, please, these videos are always on our YouTube channel. So in case you miss out, please find the time, check on the channel. They will always be there. Next week, we want to be diving into a topic of teacher wellness and work-life balance. Many of us, we wake up so early, then you have this to do, you have stress, you have project work, you have checklists, you have a number of things to do. So teacher wellness and work-life balance, that will be our topic for discussion next week. I still want to pass on communication and urge you, fellow teachers, let us try to open up in case we need to show up and share knowledge with others. The knowledge we are sharing is not entitled or strictly in line with ICT, but anything that can add up to help us become better people. So I want to end this here. I want to conclude by welcoming, I don't know, Madam Jane Francis, if you are in position, to just give us a closing remark, preferably a prayer, and then we close. Are you in position to unmute and get to us? Yeah, I'm choosing her because she was among the people that logged in first. But now that she's not in position, I can have Prince William. Are you there? Kindly just unmute, a simple introduction, and then we conclude. They normally say the blessing comes from, oh yes, Prince William has unmuted. Yes, please.
This is Prince William from St. Julian High School. I'm happy that I'm part of this session. I've learned a lot, and I encourage my fellow colleagues to take up that good information. It can help us to become better teachers. We can pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the session you've just had. We ask your Spirit to be with us and to keep on guiding us so that we should not forget what we have discussed, and give us the power and the energy to implement, to make us better teachers for a better Uganda. We want to thank you for the ITAL. This group is so important to us. We have learned a lot, has developed us, and I'm very sure we're going to become better teachers. We have prayed all this through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Prince William. Thank you very much, Mr. Lubwama, once again. We meet